Thank you for joining us this evening. This is a regularly called and convened Greer City Council meeting held this evening, May 23rd, 2023. Having called the meeting to order, I would like Councilman Riley Bettis to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance and follow that with an invocation for council. If you would, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are truly blessed by your divine grace. Thank you for the extraordinary people of faith and intelligence that guide our city. We humbly accept the challenge to conduct the business of this city, to uphold principled, virtuous, and transparent government, and to reject unethical and unwholesome activity. Help us to remember that you, not government, are our provider. Please give the city the courage and strength to prevail over arrogance, greed, immorality, and evil. Help us to be worthy of your continued love and blessings. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Ms. Duncan, anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you. Council will move past the public forum to the minutes of the council meeting held May 9th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved.
May I have a motion and a second? Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood?
Yes.
Mr. Booker?
Yes.
Mr. Hopper?
Yes.
Mr. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Bettis?
Yes.
Ms. Albert? Yes. Mayor Danner?
Yes. We have a special guest and a special proclamation this evening. We are joined by Abigail Boucher. Abigail is the Miss Greenville County Teen 2023 and understand is a Greer resident. And she joins us this evening to accept this proclamation, which I will ask her to join me in the front here in just a second. And then I am sure that she will want to tell you a little bit about her platform and the work that she's doing here in the Greer area. So Abigail, if you would join me here in the front, please. Everybody with us this evening? All right. Three. Testing. 1, 2, 3. You're a fan. You want to do this?
You got it down.
There we go. Thank you for joining us this evening. And this proclamation reads as such: Abigail Boucher, Miss Greenville County Teen 2023, and we want to wish her the best in the Miss South Carolina Teen pageant. Abigail Boucher was crowned Miss Greenville County Teen 2023 and will compete for the title of Miss South Carolina Teen June 23, 23rd in Columbia. Abigail is a 17-year-old senior at Riverside High School who will enroll in the University of South Carolina this fall to pursue a degree in nursing. Whereas young people in the city of Greer and across the upstate have been positively impacted over the past 7 years by her social impact initiative, Fostering Futures, through which Abigail advocates for children in foster care as well as the need for more foster families. Whereas she believes in bridging the gap between youth aging out of foster care and entering adulthood by giving them access to resources to help with college education, finding housing, financial help, budgeting, and everyday life skills. She has volunteered with organizations like Connie Maxwell Children's Ministry, Serene Place, Child's Haven, Miracle Grace Church Foster Closet to help bring awareness to the foster care community and to support children in crisis, and is a 5-time Gold President's Volunteer Service Award recipient and a 1-time Bronze President's Volunteer Service Award recipient for her volunteer work. Now, therefore, the City of Greer Council proudly recognizes Abigail Boucher achievements and compassion for her fellow men, and congratulate her on being crowned Miss Greenville County Team 2023, and wish her the best of luck in the Miss South Carolina Team Scholarship Pageant. With that, I want to give you this proclamation, and please join me in a round of applause for Ms. Boucher.
Hey everyone, I am so incredibly honored for this. Community service is something that has always been super important to me after getting involved with pageants and just having community service. It's something that I've grown to love and I've grown to know the importance of it. And my family actually adopted my older brother from foster care when he was 12 years old, and so he became the inspiration behind my platform, Fostering Teachers.
Thank you. Good luck.
Council departmental reports are contained in your packet. We have Ms. Howell here this evening to give us an overview of the financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll be giving a brief summary of the financials as of April 30th, 2023. Starting out with the general fund, the year-to-date revenue is $33,703,000. The total expenditures year-to-date are $33,144,000, which is 1% over budget. And the cash balance in the general fund is $21,005,000. Moving on to the hospitality fund, the year-to-date revenue is $2,914,000, which is 12% over budget. The year-to-date expenditures are $2,405,000, and the cash balance in the hospitality fund is $2,157,000. Finally, the stormwater fund, the year-to-date revenue is $1,543,000. The expenditures are $677,000, and the cash balance in the account is $3,067,000. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Council, floor is open for questions. Hearing none, we appreciate the report. Thank you, ma'am. We have the opportunity to have another presentation this evening. Alan Smith and John Kimbrell from Spartanburg 1 have joined us this evening to give us an overview of of a new program that they have that is both exciting and I think beneficial to our community. And so Al, looks like Alan is going to come to the podium to join us and give us an overview of this program. And John's going to lend moral support from the next to the last row back there. So
Absolutely.
is that how that normally works?
He's the eye candy.
Okay.
Mayor, members of council, familiar members of council, so good to see you again. I always love coming back here, and will forever be grateful for Greer for giving a 20-something-year-old an opportunity all those many years ago, and I know John feels the same way. It's interesting to see how fast Greer grew when the both of us were no longer CEOs of the chamber. But we appreciate the opportunity to be here and share with you something that I believe would be transformative for small minority businesses throughout Spartanburg County. And obviously a major part of Greer is in Spartanburg County, and we want to see small minority businesses benefit from Power Up Spartanburg. So Why Power Up Spartanburg? Why did we decide to invest so much time, energy, and resources into the development of small minority businesses? And the answer to that is simple. It was data-based, it was data-informed. So when we were launching One Spartanburg Vision Plan 2.0, which is our 5-year community and economic development strategy through 2026, we uncovered some disturbing data. While we've been the best in South Carolina at recruiting new investment and new jobs, our small business prowess had fallen to the wayside a bit. In fact, the sheer number of small businesses in Spartanburg County is about 3.7 less than the national average, 3.7% less than the national average. For every 1,000 black residents in the United States of America, there are 3.1 black-owned businesses. In Spartanburg County, there are 1.5. So we're half the national average. And unfortunately, that's something that's the case throughout South Carolina. But the difference is we want to do something about it. So with that data in mind, we said we've got to put together a plan to address this issue, and that is what we've done. And when we did that, Spartanburg County Council came alongside us and said, we believe that this is a good priority for our county in the long term as well. So they provided $6 million to One Spartanburg, Inc. to push forward this initiative. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what the initiative is, how the funds will be spent, and hopefully how Greer small minority businesses can take advantage of it. So number one, small minority businesses need access to capital. Of the $6 million, $2.5 million will be allocated for loans and grants. We are partnering with a CDFI to administer a community development financial institution to administer our loan program. We will also be partnering with another group to administer our grant program. $1 million of the loan and grant pool $1 million will be allocated for loans. I can't get into the details of what the loans will be, but I will tell you this much. We have had private bankers that have vetted the CDFI proposals. There's not a private sector bank that will be able to compete with what Power Up Spartanburg will be able to offer small and minority businesses. And I will share just a little bit, but they will be offering loans. Well, basically, your credit will not need to be checked. Obviously, you have to provide some financial documentation, but no credit checks. And again, it will be at a rate and a term that the private sector will not be able to offer. We'll also have the opportunity to buy down rates even further to make this product even more competitive. And then, of course, there'll be a grant process as well. 30% of the loan and grant pool will be locked to businesses owned or wanting to be started by people of color, because we understand the data says that people of color have a bit of a harder time gaining access to capital, so they might need more time. So for 2 years, we're going to reserve 30% of that loan and grant pool to people of color. So we are very excited about the loan and grant aspect. That's what everybody wants to talk about. But this is not about a check and good luck. This is about providing some resources and then standing alongside businesses as they go through this journey. So the second thing you see we'll be launching in the fall of 2023 is space. The city of Spartanburg 9 years ago launched a very successful Main Street Challenge, where basically the city identified vacant properties in the downtown area. They help with some facade grants, and they help put small businesses in those vacant spaces. There are no more vacant spaces, generally speaking, in downtown Spartanburg, but we want to take that model and replicate it across the county. Lyman, Welford, Duncan, Landrum, Campbello, Packlet, on and on. So a Main Street Challenge across our municipalities. Accelerators, we already have an accelerator in Spartanburg called Start Me. We want to amplify it, we want to expand it, and with our resources, we're going to go countywide. So if a small business wants to take part in an accelerator program, it will be available to them. Subject matter experts, small businesses, oftentimes they know what they want to do, but they don't know how to do it. So for example, they may go to somebody and somebody may say, you got to start an LLC. And they say, an LL what? I don't even know what that is. And so the conversation goes this way. You got to go see an attorney, or you might need to go see a CPA. And the small business person says, well, I don't have those kinds of resources. We will have a pool of money set aside to where when that small business goes to see an attorney, we will pay for an initial consultation. If that small business goes to see an accountant, we will pay for that initial consultation. The great thing is the money turns twice. So the money helps that local attorney or that local accountant or that local marketing professional, but it also helps that local small and minority business. Securing contracts, this is one of the things I'm most excited about. As I said before, we've been the best in South Carolina at recruiting big businesses over the past 5 or 6 years. We need to do a better job of connecting small businesses to big business. Because if a small or minority business can get a contract with a big business, it can be life-changing. It can change generations. So connections are the first part. But oftentimes, a small business isn't even ready to do business with a big business. So this whole module, if you will be about getting small businesses ready, prepared, and equipped to then compete for big business opportunities that we will be connecting them to. You know, we're the economic development organization for Spartanburg County as well, so we have 2-3 year relationships with a lot of these big businesses before they even announce. So with that comes an element of trust, and we feel like we could be very successful in this space and opening some doors for small businesses. And then business mentors. 4 of our team members recently, back in December, went to Cambridge, Massachusetts. We were at MIT for 3 days, and we were completely immersed in the MIT mentoring, small business mentoring program. And as of last week, Spartanburg County became the 120th community in the world to be a part of the MIT mentoring program. And what this is a team mentoring. So a small business person will have 2, maybe 3 mentors to help them in a long-term relationship. We've launched this in a pilot phase. So right now we have 13 mentees and 27 mentors. And so far the conversations have been incredibly productive. 2 things I learned. Do not go to Cambridge, Massachusetts in December, number 1. And then number 2, we were in MIT with all the MIT professors, and John looked at me and he said, I think this is the first time in my life I'm not the smartest person in the room. I said, John, I think you're right. Next, expert series. So we're going on an ongoing fashion with a regular cadence. We're going to offer small business experts to the community. So people that have been there, people that have done that, and they can give advice to small minority business. And then community captains. We realize that all this is for naught if we do not take this program and make sure that people understand what it is and how they can tap in. So we're going to literally be hiring community captains all across Spartanburg County. And it might not necessarily be someone that owns a small business, but it might be someone that's just trusted in the community. And people can go to that person and get referred to Power Up Spartanburg. That person can go to their local church or their local community group or their local city council meeting and talk about Power Up Spartanburg and literally send us referrals from all over the county. And so far, so good. We soft launched this on March 21st. As you can see, this has been incremental. And as of today, we have 357 businesses that have gone to our site and filled out intake forms. We believe when the loan and grant pool is announced, when the community captain program gets up and running, we will have hundreds of more sign up their intake forms. And then last but certainly not least is the grid. So again, all of this needs to be concentrated on one platform. When we were building One Spartanburg Vision Plan 2.0, we heard from 2,800 people. Those folks that were small businesses said, we know there are a lot of resources, we just don't know where they are. We don't know where to get them, and we're all in different stages, so our needs are different. We need one place we can go to find the resources that work for us, and that will be the grid powered by Duke Energy. Implementation partners, delighted to see the Greer Chamber of Commerce is an implementation partner of ours. We look forward to them helping us promote and market this initiative. And then we have an entire team dedicated just to small minority business development in Spartanburg County. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here. As I said before, it's always good to come back to Greer. I'm happy to answer any questions. There's a QR code above me. If anybody in the audience tonight wants to take advantage of this and sign up for an intake form, that's all you need to do. Scan the QR code, fill out the form, and you will be well on your way. But again, Council, appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Council, floor is open.
Alan, good to see you.
Art, good to see you.
Do you have any idea how many businesses would have to help successfully launch in Spartanburg County to get from that 1.5 per, I think you said 1,000, up to the national average that you mentioned, this 3 point, whatever you said?
I do not know that, but I mean, it's safe to say whatever the number of black-owned businesses is, because again, that was a black-owned stat, so 1.5 versus 3.1 over 1,000 black residents, so whatever the number is, it's got to be doubled. And you raised a great point, too. This is not about having banquets or, having a small business awards ceremony and say, we've done a great work for small businesses today. It's all about KPIs. So we're going to be measuring small business payroll growth, small business jobs, sheer number of small minority businesses opening, those kinds of KPIs to gauge our success. And if we're successful, we believe that day one, year 6, this will be a no-brainer that it has to continue on in perpetuity.
Others?
Alan, I just want to say thank you for being here and informing us of this. I think this is very transformational for a sector of the community, and I really am intrigued of what this is going to blossom into. So thank you, Spartanburg County, for taking that initiative to implement this.
Thank you. Appreciate your kind words.
Alan, John, we appreciate your time and your effort that I know that led up to this, which was several years in the making. I know, and this is I think the councilman just said, transformational with a population in Greer of 30% made up of minorities in this area. This could really be a boost not only to the upstate area, and particularly in Spartanburg County, but to parts of Greer as well too. And we'll look forward to working with the chamber. And from the city's standpoint, we have avenues that we'll be glad to start pushing this effort, and we'll look for other ways to continue that. And then I know that Reno and the folks at the Greer Development Corporation, and certainly his efforts in regards to the platform, this is exactly what they're going to be looking for to help them in terms of their efforts to create an entrepreneurial base of folks here in the Greer area. And I know that'll be beneficial to him as well. So if you want to reach out to Mr. Merriman or directly to Reno, I'm sure they'll be willing to sit down with you and learn more about the program as well too. One of the things is I have grown older is that I recognize leverage is more and more important. So every time I get out of a chair, I practice leveraging, and leveraging another organization can be as beneficial as well too. And so thank you for bringing this before us and for the work that you do. And certainly you made note of it, but a national leader in terms of industrial commitments to the county over the last several years, and so we're thankful for Spartanburg One and what they do to lead that effort. So thank you for making the time to come over and tell us a little bit about what's going on. And I'm a gardener, and if somebody doesn't plow the soil and somebody doesn't plant the seeds, you don't get a garden. So thank you for you and John plowing the ground and planting seeds, and the efforts that you both put into helping us become what we are now. So thank you for being here this evening. Anybody else? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Council, let's move to the administrator's report. Mr. Merriman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I want to echo the the mayor and council statements to our partners at One Spartanburg. I do appreciate that, and we are available to do everything we can to assist you in this effort, because it's definitely worthwhile and transformational, as Mr. Booker said. Just real quick, from a reminder perspective, City Hall will be closed May 29th, this coming Monday, in observance of Memorial Day. From me to those families of those that have paid the highest price in defense of this country, and from our staff, we want to thank you and just remind everybody what Memorial Day is all about. I also want to remind you that we are 1 month away from Freedom Blast, and we will have a park full of people and the greatest fireworks show in the state of South Carolina, and I hope Mount Pleasant hears me say that. We will have the greatest fireworks show in the state of South Carolina here on the 24th of June. Festivities begin at 6:30. I believe Mr. Bettis is the headline singer this year at Freedom Blast, but in all seriousness, look forward to it. Make sure you mark your calendars. Mr. Mayor, Council, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bettis, do you want to give us a little preview of any of the songs you'll be singing?
I only do that for pay.
Oh, okay. Council, let's move to appointments of boards and commissions. We've got a number as we move here. Hard to believe, a month away from Freedom Blast, and most all of these committees end or assignments end at 6/30/2023, and so time to start renewing those. We start this evening with our appointee to the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport Environs Planning Commission, Mr. Andy Burley. William A. Burley has served 10 years in that position. His term expires 6/30/2023. He has indicated to the Greenville-Spartanburg Environs group that he would like to continue. They are supportive of that effort. I will entertain a motion that Mr. Burley be reappointed to another term to the Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport Environs Planning Commission.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any questions in that regard, comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, the second item before us is the Board of Architectural Review. There are two individuals that term expire on 6/30/2023, and Linda Wood's term will expire, as will Betsy Porter's. Ms. Woods has indicated she would like to continue to serve, as well as Ms. Potter. We'll have to entertain those separately. For Ms. Wood, I'll entertain a motion to receive.
A motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments in that regard? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion that Betsy Potter serve another term, and that could be made in the form of a motion.
So moved.
And a second.
You got it.
Two, one, two, okay. Questions, comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Let's move to the Board of Zoning Appeals. District 1, and my apologies to Emily. I don't know that it would be best for me to try and pronounce her last name, or I would be offensive to her by trying to do it. Ms. Tisameligo, her term ends at 6/30/2023. She has indicated she would like to continue to serve. I will entertain that we reappoint Emily, if somebody will make that motion. And a second.
Second.
Questions or comments in that regard? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. In District 3, we will need a new member to represent District 3 for the Board of Zoning Appeals. You're aware of that, Mr. Hopper. Do you have anybody to bring tonight or not?
Not this evening. I did communicate with Ms. Poole. She has appreciated the opportunity to serve, just needing to step away for some personal reasons. I spoke to a potential nominee, not ready to bring them forward tonight, but they did agree, just got that agreement too late to get the bio to you all.
Good deal. District 6, Mr. Steve Griffin's term expires 6/30/2023. He has indicated he'd like to continue to serve. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So motion.
And a second.
Second.
Questions or comments in that regard? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis, Ms. Albert, Mayor Danner.
Yes. Planning Commission, District 4, Walden Jones' term expires 6/30/2023. Understand Mr. Walden would like to continue, Mr. Jones would like to continue in that position. I'll entertain a motion that he be nominated.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Floor is open for any questions or discussion in that regard.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Jones for his service. He's done a great job. I've received feedback. He does a great job of attending meetings, adds a lot of value, and appreciative that he's going to serve another term for District 4.
Thank you. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. District 5, there is an opening there, and I believe you're aware of that, Mr. Bettis?
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, council, let's move to items of new business. First item of new business this evening is the awarding of a grant funding for accommodations tax program. Disbursements of the state accommodations tax allocation distribution recommendations. The Accommodations Tax Committee of the City of Greer respectfully submits recommendations to the City of Greer Council for funding approval for advertising grants from Accommodations Tax Grant Funding Program for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. Ms. McLarty joins us this evening for this discussion. Floor is yours, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. On behalf of the ATAX Committee, I submit the following recommendations for advertising grant funding to Greer Chamber of Commerce, Arts and Eats Advertising, $20,000. Greer Parks and Recreation Tourism, Discovering SC Vacation Guide Advertisement, $11,000. Greer Cultural Arts Council, Marketing, the Greer Cultural Arts, $4,000. Roundtable Committee, Upstate Renaissance Fair, $12,448. Greer Development Corporation, Platform for Greer Swag, $2,500. This totals $49,948.
Heard the recommendation from staff. This comes from staff with that recommendation, so I'll entertain a motion to receive for the purpose of discussion.
So moved.
And a second. Floor is open for discussion.
In looking at it, my thoughts would be that I would like to see maybe the Greer Development Corporation brought up to the 5,000, taking maybe 1,000 away from the chamber, 1,000 away from the, or 500 away from the parks, and then 500 away from the arts.
Yes, ma'am. The council has,
Ms. McLarty, the council would need that to come as a motion, would assume for a vote. So if you want to make that in the form of a motion, we'll be glad to consider it.
I would like to make a motion that we changed the Greer Chamber of Commerce, their funding from 20,000 to 19,000. The Greer Parks Recreation, changing theirs from 11 to 10,000. And the Greer Cultural Arts, bringing that to 3,500. To bring the Greer Development Corporation up to the 5,000.
And the request from GDC was for what?
5,000.
In particular,
Repeat that.
in particular, what was it for they listed as their need for
the
5,000?
For the purpose of advertising City of Greer on their platform, add to their swag and to their disbursement of swag merchandise.
And that was who?
That was GDC.
GDC.
The platform.
Specifically for the platform.
Do we have any more information on the roundtable community? I'm not as familiar with that applicant.
They are the community that put on the Renaissance Fair here in the city.
What do they use their funds for? Is that just for marketing purposes?
Yes, right now we're discussing advertising and marketing. So that money has to be strictly allocated for advertisement.
Why is the advertising budget then for Greer Arts and Eats so high? Because that's basically what it is, right?
Correct.
I mean, $20,000.
And I will remind you that that's for an event that canceled out a much better event a couple of years ago.
Well, I would agree with that, but I don't understand why
I would be interested to know why they need that money, because they put on an event every week that raises money.
Yeah, I have an issue with that amount. I mean, that's a lot. With Greer Parks, Recreation, Tourism, which I think is a better value. The city has a lot to offer, and we have a lot of things going on that we need to be getting the word out on. And I know that you will, you could combine the Greer Cultural Arts Council as well, so that's 15,000. I don't understand why those, I don't know. I have an issue with the chamber asking for $20,000 basically for advertising. Are they going to do television advertising, or do you know?
It's a mixed medium with Facebook, social media platform, television, advertisement, commercial space.
Ms. Duncan, before we go any further, was there a motion made yet or not? Do we have one on the?
Two motions.
We have a first, we don't have a second for Ms.
We have a first, but not a second at this point. Okay, council, we need to decide whether or not we want to, at this point, we've got a motion that is pending. We need to, we got a motion that's pending. Yeah, we're going to have a second. Or not.
Change it if I need to.
Well, if the motion fails for a second, we can still continue our discussion, and then we can come back with a motion to amend at some point in time. And it may be beneficial to do that at this point, because there seems to be clear questions about the budget. So
And I agree with the, what's been said.
Okay, so procedurally, let's do this. We have a motion on the floor. To dispense of the motion that's on the floor, do I hear a second? For lack of a second, then, we'll continue with our discussion.
Do these entities have to verify that they've spent X amount of dollars for programming, X amount of dollars for advertising?
Correct.
So they can't commingle those funds?
They cannot.
I understand all the sentiments that have been put forth here. And I know we all have a relationship with all these organizations to some degree, but for various reasons, I have the opportunity to have direct involvement with multiple of these, and they're all doing great work. I think, in spite of we can have the discussion about one event versus another, and I completely understand that and agree in ways as well. But I would say, they've all applied for their own reasons, and for the amounts that they've applied in. I specifically don't have a problem with this. I do know, I understand, Mr. Bettis, what you're saying about, the event. I miss Family Fest myself in ways as well. I do see potential to keep growing the Arts and Eats Festival and see it as a pretty niche opportunity. And I know that the marketing is a key to making that as successful as it needs to be this year. Last year was kind of an anomaly with the weather changing plans and pivoting, and it was still very successful, built on the first year. So I know they're planning to market it very comprehensively where that's concerned. And then, again, I agree as far as Cultural Arts Council, they asked for $4,000. That's why, they're getting what they asked for where that's concerned. Roundtable, I don't have direct, involvement there, but that's, Spending Jenny folks, that's a huge event. If you've not been in downtown on that weekend, it's been amazing the last couple of years. So I think that's very justified as well. Platform, have the opportunity to be, have lots of good firsthand exposure there. I'm good with whatever we do there. I think it's valid what they're asking for.
Well, the Roundtable, the Upstate Renaissance, they're asking only for $12,000 advertising, but they've got a big ask for programming. It's almost as if we're funding the entire festival.
Their festival this year will be 2 days, if that
I guess I
has
should
any
try
bearing.
to even it out a little bit. To see some groups get the entire amount they asked for, and then the other, I don't know what the reasoning, and I'm sure the committee does, have the reasonings on that.
Yes, the primary purpose of this funding is to bring tourism to Greer. So the committee discussed which applicants had the best showed the best evidence that they would bring actual tourism to Greer.
The ones that brought the most
Correct.
into the city to spend,
Potential volume of people and cars coming here from.
Yeah, and that's, Mark, everything that you said is, I agree with I guess on the point of bringing people here. And I do not know why people or the groups who applied requested the amounts that they requested. But just based on the face value of what we see here, the chamber is asking for $20,000 for a one-day event, correct? Greer Parks Recreation Tourism is asking for $11,000, and that's something that they're I guess promoting the city 12 months out of the year. And I don't know why. Maybe that's all they need.
It looks like it's a specific publication, like one avenue of advertisement, right?
It is.
Which is which I love. I love that. It's great. I have no problem with that.
Others? With that then, we find ourselves at a point that I'll entertain motions at this point.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve as recommended by the ATAX Committee.
I have a motion, do I hear a second?
Haven't we already made a motion on this?
We did. We have a motion as presented initially.
Initially, before?
I made a motion, and I think Judy seconded.
That was to go into discussion, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was to receive for discussion, right?
You know, well, that counts.
Open it for discussion.
Yeah, but that's not how.
That's what counts.
Yeah, it counts.
Take my count back.
We're all out of whack.
For clarity purposes, I do believe we're clean with Mr. Hopper's motion to accept. So I think regardless of what may have happened, we do have a motion that we can consider now.
Made the motion.
Providing he gets a second.
So Mr. Dumas made the original motion to enter into the conversation, or?
Technically, the motion received is the motion on the matter as presented.
As presented?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So Mr. Dumas's initial motion is a motion on subject matter as presented, and the second that was received validated it. So effectively, Mr. Hopper's motion would be a redundant motion to Mr. Dumas's motion.
That's how I roll.
Okay.
Okay.
So on the original, we've got a motion and a second already on.
That's right.
Prior, okay. All right. So at this point, council, clear. What we've got now is a consideration of the budget as proposed at this point. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
No.
Mr. Booker,
No.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
No.
Ms. Albert,
No.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Yes. Fails 4-3. Somebody like to offer an alternative?
I'd like to offer the alternative.
In the form of a motion, please.
In the form of a motion, I'd like to make a motion that we reduce the Greer Chamber by $2,500 and add it to the Greer Development Corporation, making it $5,000, and then the chamber be the difference.
Comes as a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Any comment or questions in that regard?
So here's the only thing that I would offer up. Direct involvement, support, love for both causes, both organizations. If the criteria is what has the most opportunity to put the most cars, most feet in Greer from outside 50 miles, that is absolutely the festival here, as opposed to a very specific, very successful, very awesome program, the platform, you know, bringing a handful of very focused feet into downtown that are important, that we want. But again, if the criteria that we're going off of is volume of people brought to Greer, spending money from outside of 50 miles, that's why I would not support that change.
I would like to make an argument that quite possibly the Upstate Renaissance Festival brings as many or more than the Arts and Neats Festival, and we're trimming that.
Fair enough.
Well, we can take more off of the Greer Chamber and give it to the Renaissance Fair.
We've already got a motion in a second. Others?
Well, I support the motion as it's been presented. I think I've said it before, I think $20,000 is I don't understand that amount, but it's maybe it's an easier sale than the Greer Development Corporation has. I don't know, but if it's easier, then maybe they shouldn't. I guess maybe that might be my question, because I think we all at some level could agree, Greer Arts and Eats, that's not a unique festival. I think everybody and their brother does it across the upstate. And, you put that out there, and a lot of people, they like it. They want to come eat and drink and look at art. But when you put out things about the Greer Development Corporation and the platform, that's a harder sell. So I support the motion as presented.
Others?
All I would say where that's concerned is I don't know the budget for any one of these. I guess that's why we have the committee in place that reviews the exact specifics and all that, and why they make the recommendation they make, because they are reviewing all this in detail, correct?
Correct, we are. We had several meetings
Absolutely.
to come up with this recommendation.
Do you have any data on specific to the Arts and Eats Festival? Do we have any understanding of how many people are actually coming from outside of the community versus just the community impact? We do have that.
They have until July 1 to turn in their data from last year. I don't have their data as of yet.
As you may know, Mr. Dumas, this is a second year in on this festival. So from year 1 to year 2, even with hurricane, I believe it was, that pushed it back to the end of the month, it expanded significantly just in terms of foot traffic and your numbers.
I think the event's a good thing. I'm curious to know if it's just attended locally or if it truly is bringing people from outside the community, because I'm guessing that's the point of this. They're trying to get the dollars to market the community outside of the community to bring dollars from outside inside.
Correct.
Without having the plans in front of us, my guess is a lot of the marketing that they plan to do is outside of that footprint that we're talking about, in hopes and
To draw people.
with a purpose to draw them here.
You're correct.
I hope so. I'd just be curious to know how they would actually track that. So I look forward to seeing whatever they present. That will be interesting to see.
Okay.
Others? There's a motion on the floor to to amend the budget by $2,500 taken from the allocation to the Greer Chamber of Commerce to the Greer Development Corp. Any further comments in that regard? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
No.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
No.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
No. Passes 4-3. Does it pass, Ms. Duncan? Okay.
Yes.
4-3. Council, with that then, we'll move on to the awarding of grant funding from accommodation tax programming. We give you all the fun stuff, don't we?
So now we're moving forward to programming. Programming funds can be used for however the program organizer sees fit. It's not strictly allocated to advertising as the previous grant was. So the Roundtable Committee requested $50,000 and the committee agreed to grant them $50,000. Euro Auto Festival requested $13,500. The committee agreed to grant them $6,750. Greer Parks Recreation and Tourism, the Christmas Rugby Tournament requested $8,000. The committee agreed to grant them $8,000. Greater Greer Chamber of Commerce Arts and Eats Festival requested $20,000. The committee agreed to grant them $10,000. Greer Relief for the Christmas parade requested $2,500. The committee passed on granting funding. Foothills Philharmonic 2023 Greer Concert Series, the committee passed to grant funding of the request of $6,675. Spartanburg, South Carolina Charities, Inc., BMW Charity Pro-Am, Tournament requested $50,000. The committee agreed to grant them $20,000. BMW CCA Foundation, the Ultimate Driving Museum Annual Exhibit, requested $10,000, and the committee agreed to grant them $10,000. That totals $104,750 in granting. We will have a remaining balance of $11,008.83 to grant in future projects.
I'll make a motion, get the ball rolling.
So we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion.
What was the motion as it was
Yes,
presented?
as written. It's the only way we can talk about it.
I have a motion. The second floor is open for discussion.
My first question is, why didn't you fund Foothills Philharmonic and Greer Relief out of the funds remaining?
Because the committee did not believe that that would bring in tourism to the city, and that the funds remaining could be best utilized
The Greer Christmas Parade?
in other
Who's on
areas.
this committee? Have we ever given money to the BMW charity program?
We did not last year, but the previous year, we did.
How does that qualify as the last two line items are entities that they're not located in the city?
The BMW Charity Pro-Am is having an event at Greer Golf. That qualified them for having the platform to apply for these grants.
You may want to address that.
As I understand it, the Friday of the BMW Pro-Am, the amateurs that do not make the cut for the tournament are hosting or are actually participating in a community-wide event at the golf course for in concert with the BMW event for the whole weekend. So we're actually getting to host a portion of that tournament at Greer Golf this year.
There will be there will be play at the golf course.
Yes, sir.
For the amateurs.
From the amateurs that are on the tour.
Just, would that have happened without the $20,000?
Yes, sir. It's scheduled.
It was already scheduled?
It's scheduled, yes, sir.
No. My question was it part of the package to get that played?
It was not. No, sir.
Okay, what about the driving museum?
I can't speak to that.
The Driving Museum, the annual Ultimate Driving, that's a year-long campaign, and they asked for granting to help with the funding year-long of that project.
Who runs the museum?
BMWCC Foundation.
Yeah, they have just recently moved to next door to the track down there. I would say that they may be a sleeper in terms of recognition and in the community, but they are a growing entity down there in terms of people that they bring from other places to see not only the museum but to use the track as well too. So I think that
was
was
great. I understand that, but
Yeah.
they aren't in the city, right? I mean, I know part of the BMW is in the city, but the track is not, correct?
The track itself wouldn't be, but I believe it's right down there across from where the pole barn contractor is. I believe that is in the city.
Is it?
I can verify, but
It's next door to the church, which I know is in the city.
I verified the address that they posted on their application, and it is in the city.
I'd like to see some of the 50,000 from the Renaissance taken and at least and prorated a little bit more so that the Foothills Philharmonic would get some, as well as the Greer Relief for the Christmas parade. The Christmas parade draws quite a few people into town. And from my understanding, the Foothills Philharmonic is kind of a nonprofit, and they don't charge, so I'm sure they have expenditures and stuff that go along with it.
I would agree about the Philharmonic. I think that is another sleeper. Those concerts draw an incredible amount of people, and I know they performed, I think the numbers were about 8,000 to 10,000 people last year attended their concerts. That is certainly a worthy cause, and I would be willing to fund them either from our remaining funds or from the roundtable. I know at one point in time, the Renaissance Fair was asking about having horseback jousting and weapons contests out here. Did we decide to allow that?
We did not. We did not. Walk up points.
You didn't want horses and people jousting out here?
Because they wouldn't let me do it.
Oh, okay. All right.
If we have money remaining, why was there zero given to Foothills Philharmonic and Greer Relief for the parade?
The committee didn't feel as though it brought in tourism to the city.
The idea then would be to carry the funding over to the next funding cycle.
I can appreciate the prudence of the committee. I think especially because there is the balance, I think there is justifiable. If there is gray area, we have the luxury of indulging the gray area this year. So I'd actually like to amend the motion, Mr. Mayor, and award out of the remaining funds, reward Foothills Philharmonic $2,500 and Greer Relief and Resources $2,500.
How much was that to the Greer Relief?
$2,500 each.
Oh, what they asked for.
Mr. Bettis would need a second.
Well, I don't know if the remaining funds is important. I don't know if there comes up circumstances that's used or allocated, or is it?
It will be rolled over to the next granting cycle year.
Okay, we've got, let's, before I get myself in trouble again, we've got a motion on the floor.
I got one more question. I noticed they cut the Euro Auto Festival significantly. Is that a stinker of a festival or what?
That was just the committee's decision.
I'm debating about whether or not to weigh in on this. That is another sleeper for this community. That draws people from all over the country for that festival out there.
That's what I thought.
It is worth every penny we invest in it.
Well, we might as well go ahead and spend the remaining funds to fully fund this stuff somehow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I know Mark got
we do have a motion on the floor.
Mr. Bettis would need to either agree to amend that motion, Mr. Mayor, to reflect Mr. Hopper's wishes, or let the motion
Or let it die on a second, one or the other, yeah.
I will add to my amendment whatever's remaining beyond that, the $2,500 to Greer Relief, $2,500 to Foothills Philharmonic, and then that leaves a balance of $6,008.83. Doing that math right?
So an additional $2,500 to the Euro Auto Festival, $2,500 to Philharmonic, and $2,500 to Greer Relief. Is that what you
If
were saying?
we're saying that we'd like to fully fund it, I'll put the motion out there to put the full $6,008.83 on top of the $6,007. There's a typo there. $67,500 is what it actually says. But
So that would leave $4,258 in remaining balance, which would not allow $2,500 both to the Philharmonic and Greer Relief.
I'm showing remaining funds available, $11,008.
Yes, sir.
$2,500 apiece, that's $6,008, right? $11,008 minus $5,000, $6,008.83.
Yes.
That's right.
What I'm saying is tag on that $6,008.83 on top of the $6,750 we're already allotting to the Euro Auto Festival.
I will amend my motion to reflect that.
Okay. We now have
So is that a second to my motion, Mr. Bettis?
Actually,
My motion's out there.
You're seconding his motion.
Fair enough.
It has now been amended.
yes.
Does someone have to, who made the second?
Mr. Hopper made the second.
Okay, so
That acts as the second,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Good.
Who made the second originally?
Mr. Dumas made the original.
I will amend my second.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're good.
We actually know what we're doing, folks. Sometimes it doesn't sound like it, may not look like it.
No, you're right, we do. We know
We're getting ourselves in trouble here. We know
what we're doing. Just
All right, we have an amended motion and a second that reflects the amendment. Are we clear? As we can be. Any further discussion in that regard? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan.
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert. Yes. Mayor Danner.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, just for the sake of beating the dead horse here, may I ask for a point of order?
Yes.
We made a motion to accept the motion, second the original motion. I made a motion to amend the original motion. We never
You can't do
voted
that.
to
That
amend.
motion has to come from Mr.
D,
Bettis.
from D.
Got it. So then he
Yes,
agreed
he
to
agreed
amend the
to it.
motion.
Right. So Mr. Bettis had to
Or
amend the motion.
yours is now the second.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Effectively
Making
speaking,
sure.
everyone got the funding that everyone was bouncing around with, so the sausage has been made.
The clarity of the amended motion falls to Mr. Bettis, who still had a pending motion on the floor.
Fair enough. I'll bring my Robert's rules next time.
Yeah.
Be better prepared.
Everybody's gonna need a copy of this.
All right. Third item this evening is first and final reading of resolution numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Third item this evening before us is the first and final reading of resolution number 6-2023, a resolution allowing the city of Greer to continue the cooperative agreement with the county of Greenville and the Greenville County Redevelopment Authority in order to maintain urban county status with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Affairs. Mr. Sell is unable to join us. Mr. Merriman?
This is something that we do every 3 years with GCRA, and this is a continuation of that partnership.
Requires action. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none. Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Earwood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, last item of business we have this evening is the revisions to the City of Greer Revised Policy and Procedure Manual. This request is for approval of the attached revisions to the City of Greer Revised Policy and Procedures Manual effective 7/1/23. All included are updates needed for clarification purposes only. Mr. Merriman.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, just like anything else that we do over time to time, like we did actually over the last few meetings with the acceptance of the revisions to our code of ordinances that kind of get stale over time as state and federal laws change. This is not dissimilar in nature. We do need to update our policies and procedures from time to time to keep up with current law and to reflect changes to recruiting or benefits that are provided to employees. So this reflects those changes. In your packet, you've got an executive summary that highlights some of those changes. Nothing major that has been changed, but some things have certainly been streamlined and modified to reflect a changing workforce and a changing environment. If there's any specific questions, I'll do what I can to answer them, as this was a long process with Ms. Williamson, our HR director, and our team at Gillette, Savvis, and Bettis, who does our employment law. I also would like to point out that Ms. Taylor, Stephanie Taylor, is one of our newest members of HR, and she is in attendance with us tonight.
And indeed, we want to thank our staff for working with our legal advisors in regards to the revisions that you see. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
Got two of each. Floor is open for discussion. Questions? Comments? Hearing none, Ms. Duncan?
Mr. Arrowood,
Yes.
Mr. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Hopper,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas.
Yes.
Mr. Pettis.
Yes.
Ms. Albert.
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, we have no items before us in executive session this evening. Stand adjourned.